that moving that mouth, holding the foot. Does he do that? Toenails are a little difficult.
I just forget to do it until she's awake, and then I'm like, oh, I lost the pencil.
Well, you know, my husband's been such a pro with the nails, right?
I wish we could,
He did it one time. He's like, never again. I will never do it again. Yeah, but he was like, I'm not made for this. So if I die, our kids should have a beautiful one.
which one is yours?
Well, thanks everyone for coming. We're super pumped that you're here. We have some new faces, so welcome. I'm Dr. Bridget. This is Dr. Vin, my husband. We opened the Enchanted Cottage. We're also chiropractors and parents of 3, since you guys don't know us. We have a 6, a 4, and a 1-year-old. My 1-year-old is the hobo looking one, unless Jasmine's been working on her. I mean, she's literally covered in yogurt. She's wearing like an undone onesie. She's looking rough. You want to go in? You want to go in here? Jasmine might transform her into a keto girl.
Okay, listen, if you're going to
And then my son, we started homeschooling, and he is painting for his homeschooling today. And my daughter's in preschool. So now you know a little bit about us. How old's everyone's babies? 8 months. 8 months.
7. Well, she was like 2 months, and then I turned around.
Yeah.
8 months.
8 months. 4 months. 4 months.
10 months.
10 months.
Almost 3.
3. 4. Okay. Well, you 4-monthers are in for the treat.
I've already been in the
People are like, my baby sleeps so much. Like you, my 3-monther, are in the season where you're like, oh, my baby sleeps so much. They're almost sleeping through the night. My babies have never slept through the night, but most moms will come into us and they'll be like, oh, they've been sleeping for so long. And I'm like, how old are they? They're like 3.5 months. And I'm just like, buckle up, buttercup. It's all about to change, and that's very normal. We're going to talk about a lot of normal things that happen with sleeping. Traditionally, with our first babies, sleeping is really difficult because we are hyper vigilant and we are very aware of how long our sleep's out, how long our wake windows are, and then as more kids come along, you'll be like, my kids are sleeping better now, and it's basically because you're ignoring them, because you're paying attention to the other kids, and they're like, well, if I have to sleep, I just need to take the opportunity. And so the more flexible you get, the more flexible, the more kids you have. So I will tell you from the beginning to the end, our first child was the hardest baby that ever lived, and if you were basing having a child on how the first one went, we would be only children parents. Versus my second was the easiest sleeper of all time, and our third is medium, okay? But all of them are different, all of them have had different things. We are co-sleeping parents, we are breastfeeding parents. I just like to give people our lens, but we coach mothers through whatever season you're in. Whether you co-sleep, you don't co-sleep, you breastfeed, you bottle feed, whatever you're doing, we can support you through it.
Yeah, I think part of the conversation should always be around how much should your baby be sleeping in general anyway. With all the babies that we see, I feel like it falls into 2 categories. There's babies who take naps throughout the day and they take longer naps, and typically those are our kids. It's like, well, they'll sleep 2 to 3 hours stretches all day long. They sleep 2 to 3 hours and they'll wake up for 2 to 3 hours, and they sleep for 2 to 3 hours, and that continues at night too. And there's other babies who take 30 to 45-minute naps throughout the day, and then typically those are the babies that sleep for hours at night. Because ultimately your baby only needs so much sleep. There's a certain amount of hours they're supposed to get depending on how old they are, and some babies break it up evenly throughout the day. Other babies are like, I'm going to nap during the day and I'm going to sleep a bunch at night. And they both have their benefits and their downsides. But I think if we track and follow, like, what is the normal sleep pattern, I think it'll give us a lot of insight as far as, like, what do our babies need? Because in the 6-week to 4-month window, typically most babies are sleeping decent. I'd say it's probably the best sleep you get until they're...
To be honest, guys.
Yeah. So we always tell parents, like, take advantage of that window while you're in it, because that's going to be the best sleep that you're going to get. But then also after that, it's like, how can we figure out what do the babies need when they wake up? Because at around 4-ish months, I think we talked about teething. Is it last week? Where teething starts and they start drooling everywhere and they're waking up. And typically a for us, what we tend to see is that babies who wake up because of teething stuff is that they will go to sleep fine whenever you put them to bed 7, 8 o'clock, and then they wake up at like 10, 10:30, and they're screaming, they're inconsolable, and then we give our kids something to help them with the teeth, and they'll sleep from 10 to 2, and then they'll wake up again, and then it's just kind of every 2 hours after that. Versus babies, and we were just talking about this on the way over, babies who start solids, depending on whenever you do that, 6 months, 8 months, then typically they can wake up and they're hungry, and they're just like, I want to eat. And so we're doing that right now, we're night weaning our daughter, and so we're like, how can we give her a heartier meal at night, so then she stays asleep longer for that first stretch, and then we can keep either offering her water or offering her food as she is waking up in the middle of the night and she's crying out for mom, but we're trying to distance that a little bit at
13 and a half months. Yeah.
And so I think just looking to see, again, what is normal and what is to be expected, and then if we're seeing something that is not on that normal trajectory, then what can we do, like what are our babies asking for? Because they're always, our babies are not just crying just because they want to cry, they're not waking up just because they want to wake up, there's always a reason behind the behavior, and so if we can figure out what is normal, if it's not normal, then what are they asking for, what do they need, and how can we support that need?
One of the other things that's interesting that we've noticed is that there's a lot of people that will wake, when their baby wakes up, they like change them. They're like, yeah, I gotta change this diaper. And our kid stays in the same diaper all night long, y'all. They pee in it just about, now if they pooped, we would change them.
We cloth diaper at night initially,
Yeah.
and that we change.
Yeah, that was terrible. So we do a disposable at night. But we have only noticed that when you change the diaper in the middle of the night, it helps your child wake up so much more. And like I've helped a lot of moms, like, do not turn on a light. Like, do not have nothing. Like, you just need to pop the window open, let the street light trickle in, and you just get a little bit of light to be able to do a quick diaper change that you have. And if it's not poop, I wouldn't even wipe them with a cold wipe. I would just give them a dry butt and move forward. And some people will be like, scandalous. And I'd be like, I'm trying to preserve your mental health.
We used to do a bunch of diapers.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah, and it's totally, they're gonna make it. They're gonna be okay. It's not like you're leaving them for days. They're extra. Like, it's one diaper change and it's to keep them asleep. Because the pro moms can change their kids' diapers and their diaper the kid stays asleep. I've had like 6 times total, 3 kids in the last 6 years that they've stayed asleep while I changed the diaper. And I'm telling you, you walk out of there with a cape on. I have just made it. Biologically, I feel like really, and you can Google this, and you can find, we found lots of different charts and things, but like how many naps should my kids take a day, and how long should their wake window be, and how long should they be sleeping at night? There are unicorn kids who will sleep through the night. It's probably your best friend's kid. Your best friend's kid probably sleeps all night long, and you're waking up every hour and a half to 2 hours thinking, am I doing this wrong? Am I terrible? Like, is there something wrong with my baby? But there's nothing wrong with a baby that wakes up. A baby that wakes up just needs either to know that they're okay, that they're safe with their mom. They need just a little comfort. Like right now, if Honora woke up and I was there with her, she doesn't need to eat when she wakes up, but she does nurse like 4 sucks and then is out again. Yeah, it's just like you still there, Mom? And so now that we've transitioned to him, she's like, where is the titty? Like, what is going on? And he's like, I have a pouch, or I have water, and it's worked very well for most of the week. And last night she was like, I am not having this. I refuse. Yeah. Yeah. It was 4 in the morning. She was like, no. I want mom and I want it now. And she would not go back down.
It's only been a week.
It's only been a week that we've been hardcore, but it's going really well.
I think part of the diaper change thing is hard. We had a mom that came in and she told us that no matter when she puts her child in, she has 35 minutes from the time she puts him down till she has to go back and get him up. And I was like, I really wonder what that is. Like, it doesn't really make sense. And this is for naps throughout the day.
How old?
He was probably 4-ish months at the time. So I did some investigating. I was like, man, it is very interesting because if you look, you just Google a baby's sleep cycle, and I think this is why the diaper changes are, because adult sleep cycles are about 90 minutes. Baby sleep cycles are only 45 minutes. And so 0 to 10 minutes, it says a baby is starting to fall asleep. 10 to 20 minutes says it's getting into a deeper sleep, and there's a 10-minute period, so one 10-minute period in that 45-minute cycle where they're heavily asleep. And so if you can get the baby to change their life or not wake up, most likely it's in that 10-minute window. And so the likelihood of you getting that is not very high. It's a 25% chance that you can do that. And even one of the moms that was here, she said that we noticed that if we talk after the baby's been asleep 20 to 30 minutes, they're gonna wake up. And so like we have to be quiet, like that is our quiet time. And then from 30 to 40 minutes, the baby is coming out of the heavy sleep. And then the 45 to 50 minute mark is where it transitions. So they go into a stage of light sleep, and then they can transition back to deep sleep, or they can wake up. And so that's where most babies who have that 35 to 45 minute window, it's like it's always the same time. It's like that's their sleep window. And we just need to, again, in that 25 to 35 minute mark, if you can, maybe go put your hand on the baby's back, or maybe just put a blanket, or just do something to hopefully transition them from that light sleep to heavy sleep. That could be your best chance at getting them to sleep a second sleep cycle. But then that also starts to transition, because you'll notice this, especially, I would say, as you're transitioning from 3 naps to 2 naps, and then 2 to 1, it's pretty similar. That the baby will get fussy for one of the naps, and typically, if the baby normally goes to sleep at 11 o'clock, we're like, we can put the baby down at 11 o'clock, it's really not much of a fight, and they'll have 3 naps, and then at nighttime it still goes well. As they're transitioning, one of those naps gets really hard. It's like you go to put the baby down at 11 and they're screaming, and instead of it taking 10 minutes to go to sleep, it takes 45 minutes or an hour. And you're like, gosh, it doesn't even make sense to fight this long, because they're only going to sleep for 35 or 40 minutes. And then also typically in that scenario, putting the baby down at night also gets really hard. And so instead of that, again, taking 30 minutes or 45 minutes, it takes an hour and a half or 2 hours. And so that for us is a typical scenario. It's like, it's time to cut down one of those naps. And so typically the nap that gets harder is the one that we would cut out. And then with cutting that out, it makes that sleep window, that awake window, much more difficult, especially as the kids get older. It is chaos. From like when we cut out the 5 to 6 nap, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock nap, from 5 to like bedtime is horrible. It is really, really hard. But again, it would make the sleep window of the naps easier to put them down for, and they sleep better at night because they're more tired. And so it's just some cues that you can see as they're transitioning. What can you do again to support the baby, but also really support your mental health? It's like I'm fighting for the baby to go to sleep, and it takes me longer to put them to sleep than what they sleep for. And so it's just an easy thing that you can look for to see how to transition and when to transition.
And so right now we're in a disagreement about our daughter, and I think that she's ready for 1 nap. Jeff, 13 months old, is developmentally appropriate. And he says, absolutely not, she is not ready for not to have 2 naps. But if I try it, if I am home and we are home, then I can get her down for a morning nap. But then she really doesn't take an afternoon nap, and she does like a kind of a heavier nap at that 5 to 6 o'clock, and then bedtime's hard. So I would like to get rid of the morning nap and just do a 12 to like 2 or 3 nap, and then have that 30-minute snooze in the evening before bedtime. And he's like, she's not ready.
But it's timing. Like the timing is important there, because if that nap is from 12 to 2, then she'll be fine. But if she naps at 10:30, 11, then she is more tired at the end of the day, and it makes it much harder. And then we can kind of put 2 together, but if you do have the centralized time, then it makes it easier. So again, if you're transitioning from 3 naps to 2, the nap that you're going to take out, typically if you can move the second nap up some, then it'll make your day more easily spaced out and make it easier for the baby.
Yeah. It's a lot. And we have a life that's not the same every day. So like I work in our office on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm home Mondays and Wednesdays. But like we pick up my daughter from school at 12:30. So if I'm used to napping her at 11:30, I can't just leave my baby alone at home, go swing by, pick up Karen, and come back for the nap, right? And so there also has to be some sort of flexibility. And sometimes you're trapped in a car sleeping. If you have a happy baby in the car, which we had 2 happy car babies, 1 angry car baby who has become a happy car baby. So,
I'm a topic on that.
well, I literally didn't think it was possible to have an angry in the car chiropractic baby, and then we had one. So I have no hope for you.
Okay. Do you just suffer? You just cry when they cry?
No, I'm just kidding. A lot of the times it's how uncomfortable the baby is, and so we find the newborn seat is terrible for their spine. It makes their belly uncomfortable. It increases constipation because they're in this shape, as you can see there. And so we always say, like, get a convertible car seat that goes from newborn that has a very flat back. So we really love the Diono car seat. It's the one that we love. It does not fit everyone's car because it's long, but the 90-degree angle that it is supports the babies. And we see a lot of babies who hate their life in the newborn car seat, love it. And the Gracos are pretty straight up and down as well, but you just don't want your kid's spine getting crushed because that makes them really uncomfortable. That's a quick tip for you.
Yeah, I was just seeing like, what can I do before and after buy something? But we'll get there eventually.
You're gonna buy that car seat anyway.
I know.
Oh yeah, we drive with the windows down, all the way down. Your hair's gonna look terrible, and that helps quite a bit. It doesn't matter what season, what weather, just roll them down. Like, it's raining, it's like, no really.
It'll probably like shock them like.
But if we have all the windows down, it would be the only time our third didn't scream. It was hot. She was born in July, but having her scream forever was a lot. But that's kind of like our philosophy, or why our approach to sleep. But we're here for your questions and what you were hoping to learn or grasp from this time. The other thing that we were talking about, and my husband tells a lot of moms, is that basically from 4 to 10 months, this is really hard. Sleep is hard. You're not really figuring out much. There are maybe some weeks where you feel like a wink of life, but after 10 months, we really just have teething to deal with, and that's it. And so you will get there faster than you ever know, because they were a newborn yesterday, and now they're these big babies that you're holding today. But after that 10-month period, it starts to get to the point where you're like, oh, I think that I'm a mom and I've got this. But that 4 to 10 month time, there's a lot of days where you're like, there's so many changes for them. Movement, solids, walking, rolling, teething. They are laughing, they're understanding their environment. There's so many big changes in their brain. It's pretty tumultuous time for our little ones. And if we can reframe the way we look at sleep as they're doing this to hurt me, because it feels that way, to I wonder how hard this moment is for them right now, what I can do to soothe and comfort them, because that's all their cry is asking for. Like, can you help me manage my feelings? And that is. So, talk away, ladies. We're here to be a resource, or just to complain. Like to commiserate. We're here for you.
We just have so many, like, we just have false starts all the time. I do like a combo crib sleep situation where I see, because sometimes when I'm lucky, I'll get like a good stretch, and it's nice to sleep on myself for a little bit until she joins me. So like when I'm lucky, she'll do like a good little chunk. But sometimes, a lot of times it's like 30 minutes, and I try again, and then it's like 20 minutes, and then I'm like, hey, I'm tired. So, and I can't, and I've experimented with timings, and just, I don't know, just kind of, it feels like luck.
Is she sleeping on her stomach?
No, but she hates, like, she doesn't like to. We haven't tried, I don't want you to fall asleep on her.
So what I would try is, as you're doing the fall asleep, I would at least start her on her side.
Okay.
So are you like nursing her to sleep and then transferring her? Okay. So one of the things that is a shock to a lot of kids is that how cold it is. So Ben's kind of perfected the transfer from sleeping. Like, he'll lay the baby down, but he leaves his hand under the head. And so you like leave it until basically your hand will warm that area. And then when you slide your hand out, they're not hitting a cold sheet. So that's one of the things that shocks, that will wake them up. So the other thing I'm thinking is that she might be cold.
Okay.
And so if I would add a layer and see if she could be warmer, even if it's one of those like zip-on blankets.
Yeah, we do like a sleep sack, but I do a long. She's such a sweaty baby that I'm always worried about that she's gonna overheat. So I do like a long sleeve, usually like a bamboo like material. But then I do no legs, but then the sleep sack over it. But maybe she needs a hoodie or something.
She might. Because I know, because there's also this concern like, oh, my baby's sweaty, they're gonna overheat. An overheat baby is like indirect sunlight, red cheeks, or you'll know when she sleeps with you, you guys just are a sweat mess together. Yeah. It's okay for them to be warm. It's not okay for them to be basically indirect sense, like sweating or under a down blanket that they are too little to pull off of themselves. Those are the types. I don't think that she would get too warm. I would just try it. And you could also just do socks if you don't want to do pants. But warm feet, so putting socks on, everyone is supposed to sleep better with socks on. I personally can't stand my feet being strangled while I'm trying to go to sleep. But my son sleeps with his socks on almost every night, and when he does, he sleeps better. So, again, to each his own. But maybe try the sock out and see if you get a little bit more length as well. Your tootsies might get cold.
All this feels like a science experiment.
It is a science experiment. It's always, you've seen those things with like the crazy guy who's like looking at the thing. And it's like, the baby slept 7 hours last night. What do? We went down at 7:09 p.m. The thermostat was set at 71. We had beans and purees at night. We're gonna do everything the same, and it doesn't work because it was really, truly just magic that it happened. And they're gonna sleep a long time someday. Our 6-year-old now sleeps through the night pretty much 80% of the time. And if he wakes up, he just has to find us and just lays next to us and goes like, he doesn't wake us up or anything. He needs to pee, he wakes up to pee. But that's 6. And there are some people whose kids start sleeping through the night at 2 in their own room and they kill it. I don't know who those children are. I don't have them, but I hear
Mine
about them
just
all.
started sleeping through the night at 2.
Yeah.
But we were waking up every 3 hours before that. And all of a sudden she just
They get it.
clicked.
But you don't want to sleep by yourself. You don't want, I mean, kind of, I want to sleep by myself. No, you know what I'm saying. But you don't want to sleep by yourself. You'd rather sleep next to your husband. You like to have your fan on, not have it on. You like it to have a certain temperature. I freeze my whole family out. So every night I go to the thermostat and I'm like, so do you wear socks when you sleep?
Every day our son wakes up and he's like, I have to put on long pants and long sleeves because it's cold outside. Because the house is so cold.
I have hormones and I'm sweating every night. So
I tell all of our parents too, I would be okay with experimentation and just try different things. And I say like try it for a week and see what works. And because some babies sleep way better co-sleeping. And then we have some babies who are just like, I put the baby in their own room and they slept through the night. And then to go through a season was like, well, now the baby's 8 or 10 months old, now they need to be back in the bed. So just keep experimenting and seeing what works best for you guys. But I think, I was listening to this book, I think it's called Safe and Sleep. And in it talks about evidence-based medicine and how medicine is going in that direction. Everything is evidence-based, but a part of evidence-based is what are your preferences as a parent. And so taking into consideration, like that should be the foundation that you make all of the decisions, and then you should look for evidence and research to support the decisions that you feel are right in your mom body. Because you guys are perfectly equipped to know what your baby needs. But all too often we're just like, well, the doctor said this, or my friend said this, or somebody said this, and it's just, I don't want to do it, even though this is what I feel is the right thing. Everybody else around me is saying that's not the right thing, and so we listen to the noise around us instead of that inside voice. And your baby will always be better if you listen to your internal voice. Like you know exactly what the baby needs more so than any doctor, more than any friend, more than any parent. It's like you know what they need, and so just if you listen to that gut, typically things turn out way better.
Another question we get often is, should I sleep train? Can I sleep train? Do you recommend any sleep training? How do you guys feel about trying it out? All these different things. And so what I will say is that until you pass the 8-month mark, there is no hope for training. Like, it's just not, you can get something down for a month or 2, but then teeth are gonna come or you're gonna have a sleep regression, which the sleep regressions are just your kid leveling up in your brain. So I always call it, and when I'm speaking to people, the sleep change, because it doesn't have to be negative. Again, we just have to reframe this, right? We have to speak about it as positively as we can. We're gonna lose our minds, right? And so, as they're navigating that, so then people are like, well, do you like this or do you like this? We like whatever doesn't put your child in a state of panic. So a lot of times people are like, well, we just didn't try it out because I needed to do it for my mental health. And it's like, okay, mom, like you get to make the choice for your kids. But what we know with how the nervous system works is that the kid screams until they give up hope. It's not that they self-soothe. Self-soothe is some guy randomly made this up. One guy, and we have just run with it. We have made sleep sacks. We have made clocks. We have made white noise machines. There is a whole world on self-soothing that this one guy wrote about in the 50s or 60s, I believe, and there's no evidence about that kids self-soothe. What there is evidence is in animals and in people alike is that we cry until we give up hope. And so they will give up hope that you're coming, and then they will collapse out of the exhaustion of fear. It's very sad.
Okay, I'm not using that.
But there are very healthy ways to train your child to go to sleep. I just wouldn't do it in a cry out way. Again, this is our opinion. You guys get to choose whatever you want. But the way that the kid ends up, they'll sleep, but at what cost? And that's, you're not even going to be able to see it right away. But what they've studied is when kids are cried out, they do this, it affects their personality as they grow. There's some detachment, there's some weird solo thought stuff to themselves that happens after they have been left alone to survive. And it's past fight or flight. So there are ways to have your kid put down that makes sense. There are really great sleep coaches that will be like, I don't do cry it out, but I can tell you things. And what they're going to do is train you as mothers on how to support your kid to know it's bedtime, and that's the next thing that's going to happen. And so the number one thing you can do with sleep is to have the same 2 or 3 things happen every time they go to sleep. So if you a sleep sack is a great way to do this because they zip up after they do it in the same one. You lay down, you play the same, you sing, really if you can sing the same song, moms, you sing the same song every time, you put the same lotion on their feet or whatever it is. We do, for bedtime, we do bath books bedtime, and no matter what, all of our kids know that as soon as we get in the bath, that the cascade is after. So if they've been really muddy in the yard and like, go take a bath, they'll look at me and they'll be like, it's daytime. And I'll be like, this is not a bedtime bath, you're just filthy. But they literally have a trigger in their body that after I'm wet, I'm going to get dry and cozy, mommy and daddy are gonna hug me and read to me, and then I'm going to go to sleep. And so we don't have a lot of battle at bedtime, we still do, especially with a 4-year-old second-born girl. But my kids know that they're putting on pajamas after, and then that's it. We're brushing our teeth and we're doing this thing. And so if you can even create these things that you do every time, this song that you sing every time, this is what the sleep coaches are going to train you in. Your kids are going to start to learn the triggers. Just like when you smell a cinnamon candle, you feel fall leaves falling, right? Like, you know that it's Christmas time at Home Goods when you smell those like cinnamon pine cones, right? You're like, oh, it's on, I'm buying something pumpkin, something Christmas today. That, your children have those in them as well with sounds and smells.
It's the most important part of that is the rhythm, not the rigidity of the schedule. So like for our kids, it doesn't matter if we're doing, again, like it doesn't matter if we're doing the bath at 2 o'clock or at 6 o'clock. It's the rhythm of the things in order that helps prevent them to know what's coming next, not necessarily the strictness of the schedule. Because if so many parents are just like, well, this is nap time is like 11 to 12, it just becomes hard the more chaotic that life gets, especially for a second baby. It's like, I mean, the chances of you maintaining the same schedule becomes slim to none. But you can pretty easily maintain, because even as we're traveling, we have the same rhythm. Just like we do a bath, we brush our teeth, then we do books, and then it's bedtime. And so it's just like, and the kids know, again, Jewel got with us in Miami doing the same thing. It's bath, it's brush your teeth, it's books, and then it's bed. And the kids, it helps them start that wind down process. And it's really the same thing for us as parents. Like, you also should have a bedtime routine if you want to sleep better. Like, I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she was like, she said that she wasn't sleeping great, and so I said, what is your bedtime routine? And she said she has a lot on her phone, and so I was like, I would just put a red screen filter on your phone, so if the blue light doesn't wake your brain up and make it seem like it's 8 o'clock in the morning. And she told me yesterday, she's like, that has been the biggest change. It's like now she's gotten into this rhythm where her brain can start winding down for bed, and because of that, her sleep is so much better.
So we struggle with naps, like bad, or the 45 minutes, and if I'm rocking him for 10 of it, then he's sleeping for 35. So my fear is that he's so used to me rocking him that quietly transfer him or else I have to start all over again. Will he eventually brought up that? Like, or am I creating bad habits?
No.
Everything it's like, don't do that after 5 months or else it's gonna be forever. I'm like,
I can't live like this.
I feel like almost it seems like every one of our conversations comes back to this point. Just like, what is the goal of your parenting? And if you can have that goal, then it makes all these decisions so much easier to make. Because if the goal is to have a compliant baby that does what you want it to do when you say to do it, then maybe that can create a bad habit. But if you want to build a connection with your baby that's going to last for the rest of your guys' time together as humans, I think that just creates a different lens. The same thing with the crying out. It's like, our goal is not to just have a baby that sleeps for the night or sleeps for a big chunk of time. Our goal is to have a strong bonding connection with our kids that can last for the next 60 years. And so that, I think, will set the tone, but I don't think there's any bad habits that are going to be created by you supporting your baby in the way that you're asking them to be supported.
Your baby's 8 months, right? 4 months? Gosh, he's big. You're 8.
Yeah,
You were, no. I was trying to remember in order. So he was in your belly for 9 months. He was constantly held. So biologically, we have immature infants. They cannot survive without us. So until he can physically crawl out of your lap, he doesn't know that you're two separate people. Like, so right now at this 4-month stage, you do everything you can together. He cannot regulate himself, his temperature, his mood, nothing without you. Like he literally, your heartbeat is his heartbeat. When you guys make eye contact, your hearts sync within 1 second. Like that's how connected you are. It's so beautiful. So until he can physically leave you, there's no part of his life that is going to be great without you or your spouse being able to put him down. So that's biologically normal. And then after he can crawl away from you, in that 6 to 10 month time, he's learning his autonomy. He'll start pulling himself up. He's starting to be able to feed himself. There's these cool things. And then he'll need a check-in with you. He's going to still need to be able to come over and be like, am I okay? Are we good? Like, I just fell. Like, so right the other day, Nora slammed her head on the corner of a door. She's the third kid, so she's tougher than the others. And she, like, went there and she, like, looked at me. And she like rubbed her head, and I was like, are you good? And she was like, I'm good. Now if that had been my first son, he would have hit his head, and he would have been like, my life is over, because I would have reacted, right? And so as our kids age and they get more, like the feelings that they have, they understand this stuff, they're gonna need you less. So I would rock him, girl. I would rock him, and I would know that you have started the journey, very tough sleeping journey, the 4 to 10 month zone. It's rough. And whatever the goal is that you and him sleep so that you both don't suck. Right. That's the goal. Like truly.
So back to your point, is that why he'll take like an hour and 30-minute nap on me, a contact nap, but then in the crib he
can't, he's freezing.
Yeah.
Like he's freezing. It doesn't matter if you give him 10 things. He doesn't have the fat composition in his body to maintain heat.
Are you sure?
But yeah, it's even more than just that though. It's literally your connection helps regulate his body. And I think that is where, again, maybe you can try to cheat the system a little bit. Maybe you put him down for 10 to 15 minutes and then you go in and just put your hand on him. Or wherever he's laying, just like get close to him so you can help him regulate through that light sleep to transition into a deeper sleep cycle. Just know if you do that though, you might lose even another nap, because if he's going to take essentially 2 naps in one, then it can change your whole sleep cycle there. But I think that's where, again, like your connection can't be overstated. Like your physical proximity to your baby is paramount to their success, because they literally don't have the ability to regulate their heart rate, their blood pressure, their temperature. But once they're in contact, you're like, okay, now I'm safe. And so that is where, again, like the cried out part, it's, I mean, if you guys want to look into this, it is fascinating. It's called the polyvagal theory. It talks about how there's 3 states to this one nerve that used to be thought to just be rest and digest, is now there's a social aspect to it, where animals who feel like they can't go into fight or flight to escape a predator, they faint and just play dead. And so that is what happens when the baby is crying, because they're crying for connection. And if we don't give them that connection, they're like, well, if I keep crying, then an animal can come eat me, so let me not cry and let me be docile, and let me just lower every function of my body so I can just live to survive the next day. But your connection with them helps get them out of that fight or flight state and into that social state where it's like, I can trust my mom to meet my needs, which is a crazy thought to have. But Albert Einstein, I think, said that the most important question that we can ask is this world a hostile place or a friendly place? And part of that answer happens in this stage. Where it's like, if I am crying out to the people who are supporting me, will they answer with my needs?
And all of this is backed up with how attachment parenting gives you healthier adults, healthier kids who have very good emotions and all of that stuff. And so you're gonna hear, you can spoil a baby, you're spoiling your baby. That's literally not scientifically true, but it is. The baby boomer generation had tough parents, right? They had parents who went through the Depression. And so they were like, if you don't survive, you die, right? And so they're just like, tough it out. That's truly what our parents were parented in, if you have a baby boomer as a parent. So they never apologized to us. They were like, just suck it up, buttercup. That's literally the whole time. And then as we get to ours, we've almost gone all the way super far. And we've talked about this in lots of different talks and come to all of our talks, so we have a great time. The gentle parenting movement is almost too far to hear that we're getting these kids that basically are running their parents to the ground. There's too permissive.
My mom calls it wishbone. You put a backbone for wishbone.
That's good. That's good. Love your mom. And so we have to find this happy medium where we're attached and our children know that they're loved and safe, because people are like, well, I was raised this way, or I was spanked, or I was cried out and I'm fine. But they're also on antidepressant medicine or anxiety medicine. They don't sleep at night. They have all these different things. And I'm like, I don't think we're fine. I don't think we're fine. And so trying to find this healthy mix, the only way you can spoil a baby holding it is if you're holding them after they're trying to move. So after they're crawling and walking and doing this stuff, movement is the way the baby's brain grows. So if you're like always sticking them in an exercise or always sticking them in a thing and they can't move their body, their brain is not going to grow. And so following the cues of your child is brilliant, and they will change. And you are not coddling him or spoiling him, especially at 4 months.
When he's awake, I want to be tending, I don't want to be doing chores. So when he only gives me 45 minutes, I only have time to do chores. So I just feel like a bad mom when I'm he's, laying in a play mat and washing his bottles really fast, because I want to be with him. I don't want him just, and my husband's like, he can do independent play. I'm like, but I want him to.
So that's why we designed this place. So everything here, it looks like a little house. You get dressed in the morning. This is where you do things. You work. This is what you do. And so your children just want to be, where are you? So if you put him on a play mat in the kitchen next to you while you did dishes, and he could have that movement on the floor, that's great for his brain. So he doesn't need independent play, but it's okay for him to lay on the ground and basically have to entertain himself. And you'll probably get 15 to 30 minutes of that before he's like, all right, Hag, pick me up. I'm done. It's time. You've had enough bottle time. I want some mommy time. But as they just want to be close to you. So when people are like, oh, we have this nursery and that's where all the toys are, I'm like, bring them into your kitchen. Because that's where you're cooking, that's where you're cleaning, that's where you're spending your time. Where's your laundry? Bring them in, put them in a laundry basket, and do your laundry. But he wants to be in proximity to you, but you don't have to be like, let me stimulate you. Here's some black and white cards. Let me do this cross-crawl pattern. You want to do that, and I promise you, after you have your first child, and you have a second, and a third, and a fourth, you don't have any of this time. So sometimes when you're feeling that guilt, you want to be there, just be like, what would I be doing if I had a 3-year-old here right now? And you'd be like, that little chunk would be laying on the floor. Well, I was like, please don't touch that. No, that's a knife. Don't dump your milk on the floor. Oh gosh, no, we can't go out. Don't touch door handles, not mommy and daddy. No, could you not? Oh, you just dumped daddy's cologne all over. It's literally your whole life. And then you go back and it's been 15 minutes of you trying to help your toddler not put the house on fire. And you go back and your baby's like, sup mom, I'm just still here. I'm doing this thing, loving this meal you gave me. So do your dishes, girl.
That makes me feel so much better.
He loves a mirror.
Yeah, he loves a mirror because he's learning about himself. Right now, he thinks he's looking at another baby. So, how they were loving each other right now, they're like, baby, this is so great. He's like, baby! And they're not moving. This is great. And so you're just like, oh, it's you. And he's like, no, you are who he sees. He literally thinks that you are him, that you're together, which is beautiful. And I will tell you, with these boys, no offense to girls, it is a love that is your girls love you, but boy love. Have you seen my son check in with me like 8 times? He's like, Mom, did you see my picture? Do you love it? I just pushed this kid because they pushed me. Like he's just like, hey, did you see my outfit? Like he's just checking in because he loves me. Like a man loves a woman without like, you know, sexy stuff. And so it's beautiful. And then my sweet little girl is like, would like to mother alongside me, but she's also a little bit of a catty best friend. So it's like,
you fight with your own.
yeah, you do, because they're a woman. So you know, like when you like have a best friend and they annoy the crap out of you, and you're like, yeah, that's a daughter.
Especially when they start talking.
Yes. And it's beautiful.
It's crazy.
Boy, do I love my boy. I love all my kids. But Vincent loves me, and it's beautiful. You saw him check in with me. But I would do that as a mantra when you're having a guilt moment. Like I should be down there with him. Kids need quality time. They don't need quantity time. Like when it comes to like, am I spending enough time brain building, doing these things, reading books, blah blah blah. Need that quality time. So like totally focused time. Like there are people who hold their kids all the time, but they're always on their phone. Right? And we're gonna have phone time. Don't get guilty. Okay? When you're nursing, they're all tittied up. It's time to scroll, baby.
That's the best part about breastfeeding.
I did not. How did the women in the 1800s? 1800s? What did they do?
I think about that all the time.
They probably churn butter at the same time.
Right? It's impossible. You had a Kindle, you can do it, but like, what did they do? They just sat here and thought. I was like, gosh, my brain is going in terrible places. But I always think, if I like forget, you know, it's like, have you seen that meme? It's a gorilla sitting, and it's like when you forget your phone and you go poop, and the gorilla's just like, you're just like, what did they do in the 80s? That's why we had books in the bathroom, right? People had like those, like they had the toilet books, like the potty humor. Yeah, like, exactly. And so, you're gonna have that quality time when they're this little. Contact is a lot. There's a lot of contact, but it's not just because they're needy. It's literally because they actually need you to regulate them, which is so cool, but also sometimes really annoying. And it's also why you can give them to dad, and sometimes it works, and sometimes they're like, hell no. I want the woman who created me. The rhythm of her heart was my first melody. Like, give her back. Like right now, I'm trying to give our 13-month-old to him. And she's like, nah, you're night weaning. So anytime we're awake together, I'm trying. I'm going, Mom. She's like, telling me I would like some leche. Let's go. But she won't. If we're next to each other, she will not sit with him. And she's just having a moment because we're shifting this. And we talked about this with feeding, but I highly recommend night weaning before anything else when you get there. You guys are far away. But night wean first, and it's your husband's job. You just give him the baby and you tell him to figure it out. Here's some pouches, here's some water. Good luck, good sir. You will love me forever for this advice. Because it's people are like, well, we stop nursing during the day, but I can't break at nighttime. I'm like, then you won't. You won't. It's the hardest time to break.
Literally, you couldn't stop the nighttime.
Yeah, that's what
But that is where, as soon as I stopped nursing, she was out all night long.
That's why we do it first. That's why it's the goal. But it also brings your fertility back. So if you want more kids, it's a great time to start. And if you don't want more kids, lock that up. Because that's when you're gonna have well, I haven't started my cycle yet, or I didn't know I was ovulating. You're like, whoa, we're having Irish twins. Like it's wild. It's wild. Does anybody else have any other questions? Any feelings? She speaks really well. She's incredible now.
But she only takes 2 hours. Both of them are on that. It's like, so this is our mega nap. So we'll take like 2-3 hours, and then
So you should probably be in like the 4 nap zone. So when you're having this big fat daddy nap, which is fun, that afternoon nap is going to be tough, and you'll probably have her falling asleep earlier at night.
should we go down to sleep?
How long did you sleep at night?
5 to 7 hours.
And you should go back to sleep after a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect example where just like they only have so many sleep hours.
I just feel bad that she doesn't work a lot of naps. Like,
Yeah, I think
I would
it's
count her
also a big-
total hours versus how many naps she
So I think
has.
it's a misconception for how many naps you need. Because again, like we can even transition again like a 2.5 hour nap. That's 3 naps. That's 3 time equivalent of 3 45-minute naps. And so, and then if you guys,
I dropped him off in the front.
It's just pick up later. But since we stopped doing that, so I was just like,
And she's out.
one of the rooms over there. I'll try the belly. I think she's gonna hate it. We'll see.
Start her on her side.
Yeah.
She gets to choose.
I started on her side and she flips.
Okay.
But I
I
have
feel like a lot of weight.
you know those nodded gowns?
Yeah.
That's what I have.
Okay.
Her feet are tucked in, but she's not like rested.
Yeah, I mean that's not what I have going on with the sleep stuff. Yeah, it's like nice and long.
Everything about her sleep cycle is about to change. Nothing is going to be the same.
I used to get that.
It's gonna go to an hour and a half or 2 hours all day long, all night long. It's a lot.
We just got over a cold. So we are on
So I wouldn't stress about what is working for you now, and just know that it's about to be on like Donkey Kong, and nothing will be the same again. And then you're gonna get to kind of like get it, and then 8 months will come, and there's sleep change there, and then at 10 months you'll get back to this. Is my kid having enough naps? But really counting the total hours is so helpful. So if she does a 3-hour nap, and then a 45-minute one later, that's 4 naps. And then she's sleeping this, so and you can, and it's really easy to Google, but it's like, okay, in 24 hours, they're supposed to be asleep 18 of it. So if you're hitting 18 hours, you're good. Yeah. He was this big one time. He was big. He was as big as yours. Yeah, you were a baby. He always had one of the hardest things. He's like, he has to sleep by himself in a bed now, and he hates it. We started at 5, and he usually ends up halfway through the night with someone. Right now, because they're sleep training more, he gets to get back in the bed with Daddy. But 100 times. And they say, like, really honestly, it's biologically normal around 7 for him to sleep by himself. I'm like, bored. But he doesn't remember that he got to sleep with us at 1, 2, and 3. They don't remember that. So we showed him all these pictures of him asleep, being held, being worn. And he's like, I want to do what Anora's doing. We're like, you did do what Anora's doing. Here's a picture of it. And that helps him. We're like, nobody else has lost teeth in our family, and he's lost 4. Yeah.
Show them or what? Yes or no?
You can if you want to.
You tell me.
Yeah, sure.
Come here.
Okay.
My arm.
It's how cute you are. I'm not laughing at you. You're so sweet.
So what I was gonna DM and ask you is like, what should my goal be now? Because I have dementia until I ended up having a C-section, and like I'm just open. And then it became a habit, and I would go to sleep pretty good. I mean, you even told me like, oh, that's considered sleeping through the night. There's only once randomly when she was 10, she woke up at 2 a.m. and she was wide awake, but that was like
You can nurse them and they go right back to sleep. That's
so now, like, I have her room, like, totally ready. I actually just turned it into a floor bed instead of a crib because she never really loved the crib anyways, and I kind of want to help her, like, have some independence if she wakes up from a nap and wants to start playing by herself, which she could also maybe speak to, but, yeah, I'm just like, what is my goal now? Like, when do you think I should transition? I know you said not night weaning until about a year or after, so then do I just
you have a floor bed in a different room.
yeah, in her room. And I also have a bedside bassinet. And I've tried that out a couple times, not for a whole week, so maybe I shouldn't commit to a week. But it'll be like, I don't know, say 9 p.m. and I put her down, and I finish getting ready for bed and whatever.
Thought that was
And
her.
by the time I'm in bed, less than an hour later, she wakes up and I just put her in bed with me because now I'm going to sleep. So like, what was the point in that?
You're showing her that she's gonna sleep alone. So I would do the floor bed in your room, the identical bed, the identical sheets, everything, and then that way when she wakes up and she panics, because she's gonna wake up and panic that you're not there, because she can wake up next to you and know that you're there, literally because of the heart rate, the warmth, she's panicking, and then you go and you respond. So I would start her down that floor bed, and you can either if that's your goal and you have it, I would put the floor bed in your room, literally same sheets, everything that's going to be consistent. And the first time she wakes up, I would go and lay down on the floor bed with her and get her back down. And then the second time she wakes up, which will be when you're sleeping, I would just grab her and pull her back into the bed. And so you're starting to kind of train her into that. And then once that's going successfully, then I would put her in the other room.
Okay. Because she doesn't really nurse much at night.
Yeah.
Like she wakes up. Sometimes we both kind of fall back asleep, but she doesn't like wake up for feeding.
It's
and all
just
that.
it's just a check-in that you're still there.
So I'm like, when should I be?
I would listen to what your mother intuition tells you.
Okay.
Because there'll become a point where you're just like, okay, we're done with this.
Yeah. Because I always said like 6 months, and that's when I actually put the bassinet next to me. I'm like, we'll try this out, but then it just makes me not fall asleep very well because I know she's literally gonna wake up, and the minute I let my guard down, I'm like, it's fine, maybe she'll sleep. When she cries, I'm like, oh my god, so it's like I'll just tell her when I need to start, but I'm like, how long am I gonna do that before?
I would not come up with a preconceived timeline because it's going to go way different than you expect. And just like, I wouldn't say, 10 months, you should do this. Because again, there's going to come a time, and it's different for every baby, where just like, again, I think it's been way different for all three of our kids as far as like when we night wean. But there's just a moment where she's like, we're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much overnight.
So I know you said a year, but how do you know that they're like ready? Do they stop nursing as much throughout the night, or do you do them?
I was done.
Okay.
Yeah, I was done with the the constantness of it. Because when she's night weaned, I'll take her back, and we'll post she is the only thing I can do to calm her down as nurse, and so I want to be able just to hug her and have that be what she needs, or have them hug her, and so right now what she's learning is, am I really hungry or do I need a person? And so he offers her water, he offers her a pouch, and then last night she didn't want anything except me.
She woke up the first time and had water. The second time she ate both of her pouches. And then, well, she ate one pouch. And then I offered her the second one when she woke up again, and that's when she was like,
I want mom. She's starting to figure it out.
So did you end up going and nursing her?
Yeah, I got it.
That's how
Because she started to cry, not like I'm fussing, but cry like I'm panicking.
Yeah.
And that's a difference. So, just to try out how she does, that's why I would do the bed that she's going to sleep in, because you start to get her comfortable, like this is where you sleep. And I wouldn't play in that bed, I wouldn't do anything except sleeping stuff. And if you get your sleep cascade, great job covering your nose here. I would do whatever your routine is, and I would do it in that bed. And I would just start doing everything and having her associate these beautiful sheets and this beautiful bed and this bunny or whatever animal you put in there. That's what happens here.
But she does, even now that I have the floor bed this week, she naps really, really good, and she really enjoys it. And I put her down, like even if she's not totally asleep on me, I put her down by her bed and she falls asleep.
The dark is terrifying. It's terrifying to all of us. If you were put in a big sleep, what would you do? Sprint up the steps. And so what I tried to explain, because the other night we had a potty accident with Hayden, and he had said, that's our 4-year-old, he said, go to the bathroom. And I was like, she cannot walk to the bathroom in the dark. It's too terrifying.
and she sat up in the bed and peed more in the bed.
Because she was like, I don't know what to do, I have to pee really bad, and you're telling me to do possibly the scariest thing I could ever think of, which is walk away from you in the dark. So the dark is what really transforms the terror. So she might nap well because there's still light in the house, even if you have blackout curtains. Like it's not pitch dark unless you're like zipper and one of those things, you know. And so she's probably like wakes up and she's like, oh, I'm in this safe place. But when you wake up at night and it's pitch dark and your mom's not there, you're like, monsters! It's like you're trapped in the basement with a serial killer and you are sprinting up.
And she knows my room. She's coming to my room, so that's a good idea to put her.
I would even let her nap there. Like keep the naps going there, like have everything, and then when you transition her to that room, it's all at once. That's what I personally would think, and you just see what Evelyn does. She might hate it. This is just an idea I have. But every kid is different, but that I think would be, again, you're training her to sleep in a gentle way, and you can really help her move in that direction.
because someone said much earlier on in the book, and even in different contexts, but they said something about their child, like, oh, I don't want to hold them back from something they're ready for because I'm not ready. And with that, like, it was like a little word track stuck with me. I'm like, wait, I like just holding on to co-sleeping. Is there a way I should, or could be transitioning? When should I draw the boundary? You know, so I just want to make sure I'm not like holding her back.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like, especially in this world, we can get so caught up in listening to other people's stories and what experts think and what the doctors say and stuff. When again, just tune in. Just try to quiet as many of the outside voices you can and just listen to your intuition.
And I just try my best to think about like people in Africa that live in the bush or like animals or something. Like I have a friend who, no disrespect to this, is something anybody's tried or whatever, but she's like, oh, I did this like thing where I like stand outside of the crib but don't touch them and stuff. And I'm like, I just can't imagine like animals doing that, or you know, like it doesn't seem like natural to me, so it's hard for me to like do different things like that. Yeah, okay, really.
They're watching you, not helping.
I'm right here. Keep suffering.
Yeah. You know, there's just like all these different
Which is,
things you
I
hear,
always
and
try
I'm
to
like,
think about it like how my baby is thinking. Like,
Yeah.
hey, my mom's right there, everything I need in the world, and I'm drowsy but awake, and you laid me down, and it's cold, and you're leaving? Like, no thanks.
Because I also had someone, yeah, exactly. That's how she feels about that. But I had someone else tell me that, like, because she's next to me and can smell milk, like, that makes them wake up more often.
Just what? You just put her on Alex's side right here. Alex's side. I just downloaded myself there.
Well, he is a crazy sleeper, and he doesn't even wake up to her cry.
He's not going to sleep in, I promise. I thought the same thing about him. He sleeps like WWE. Like, truly, him and Karen are the most mobile sleepers in the world. They will end up at the bottom. They end up at the bottom of the bed together. Like, heads down where the feet are. And he's like, it's not me, it's her. And I'm like, I've slept with you for 7, almost 8 years. It's also you. You've never ended up upside down. But he's so aware of what Karen's doing that even in his completely unconscious state, he moves with her. And he'll sleep with our newborns right here in his big old muscly arms. And when we had Vincent, I was like, you're gonna kill a baby. You're gonna kill the baby. And now the baby sleeps so good in that like warm little thing. I'm like, can you use a chokehold thing on the baby? It's not really a chokehold, but it looks like a chokehold to me because his arm is so big and the baby is so small. But I have so many pictures of him just with his big old self and his tiny little head and their body, and they're out. And they'll sleep like that for so long.
So maybe even try that before the floor bed in our room. Maybe because right now,
Try it all,
honestly,
girl. Try it all. There's no right. There's nothing right except what Evelyn needs and what you need. Because you could start doing this and then you don't sleep because you're waking up every hour to check on your kid. And
and that's why I haven't started. Because I'm like, I sleep pretty good. Like I don't really want to change anything, but I also know like my husband is very, very patient because he has never woken up once with me. So he's like, how long does he need to get more sleep? Like I'm not sure. He's like, okay, well, you know, so he's pretty good with it, which is good. I also know.
as long as they're getting their needs met, husbands are pretty down with the clothes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Like meet their needs and they're not gonna be like, this baby needs to get out of her bed. Be like, bro, that has nothing to do with why it's not happening for you. There's a couple other things that you'd like to discuss why this is not happening for you. Mostly you're annoying. You don't hear me.
Class on that.
He's gonna have a dad boot camp. We're just trying to figure it out. Whether or not your husband probably will not come. That's what we're trying to figure out. How to make it out. Yeah.
The book is called Safe Infant Sleep. I don't know if I agree with all the stuff in there, but in it he talks about and he talks specifically about having adults sleep with a baby that are not biologically related to the baby, and that is not a great idea.
Right, like a babysitter or something.
Yes, or even like a man who's, or even just like a man who's not the baby's dad sort of thing. Just because, again, I don't even know, but there's like this whole flow chart. It's like, if you're not related to the baby, like you should not post it. But there was a study that he referenced that talked about how much the baby is like facing the mom at night versus how much with co-sleeping that the baby is facing the dad. And the dad is way less. I think the mom was like 73% of the time they were connected or touching, but the dad I think was 40-something%, which is still statistically significant. But there is a difference, but there's also like, we're also like, you don't roll over onto the baby. You were very aware. He did like this thermal heat study. Like it was fascinating, just the studies that he was referencing, and how it is different than how mom sleeps. But it is just as
They're just as cognizant that the baby is there, which you don't think, and you don't trust them, especially with your firstborn. And then after, when you're like, yeah, they'll sleep on you, go, take it, please, thank you. But that night meeting thing with the dad running it, I think, is our secret sauce to success.
And is that in a different room?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, we are not together.
Okay.
Because if it's just a dad, you have to crawl over. They will army crawl. Yeah.
I mean, in our other house that we lived in, it was literally the opposite corner.
It was awesome.
And so
I didn't even hear her
I
cry.
enjoyed it more too because it was just like I didn't have to get yelled at. So she's screaming. I'm like, I know she's like, I'm aware. But now
Last
there's
night
no
I was
space, and it's just like.
You shouldn't talk to your husband between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. And I was like, were you gonna bring her to me or what? And he was like, I was texting you. I'm like, my phone's on airplane mode. You can't text me at night. Is your phone on? And you're like, but he has all 3 kids in the king bed. I'm a spoiled brat. He's literally, I was like, I think I want to stay home all the time now and not work at the office. And he was like, I'll take all the kids at night. Is that gonna be enough? Like, you think that so you can not stop working with me at the office because he likes that we work together? And he was like, so I'll take all the kids. So now he has all the kids in the king
I
size
was literally
bed.
trapped between the 2 older kids and had Honora screaming in my lap with my arm underneath
And
her
the
hair.
older
And she's like, no.
Oh no. Oh wow. No. They out.
And Honora is now, like, when she's up, she'll crawl over me. So, like, Vincent sleeps on the end because he sleeps still. Honora is on his side, and then Karen is on the other side because she's a wild animal. And Honora will, like, the older 2 will fall asleep. She took a nap last night. And she'll crawl over me and, like, scratch Karen's face. And Karen's still.
She's like, wake up. Like, why are you playing with me? And we're like, go to sleep.
I also want to ask about benefits of like a consistent bedtime. Like, is that
So beneficial.
okay? Because I heard you say like our lives are just always different. That's how we are too. But you're pretty strict about that.
The nighttime, that's on lock.
Okay.
So, and it's really great if you can, as a mother, you need to re-engineer it. So you're like, I want to eat at 5:30. Yeah, that thanks. I want to eat at 5:30. That's the start of the bedtime of the countdown to bedtime. So at 5:30 is when people are putting food in your mouth. That means that you are prepping at 5. Or if you're like an afternoon prepper and you like prep dinner at lunch, like because you're a really great planner, God bless you in your ministry. I'm not that person. I wish I could be. But so at 5 I start cooking. At 5:30 we eat. By 6 we're cleaned up and we're in the bath. The bath can be anywhere from a 2-minute, you're just getting wet because I know you need this, to a 30-minute, right? And this is not religious. It's a rhythm, right? And so no matter what, our kids have to be in the bed between 7:30 and 8, so that the latest that we can be in bed is 8:30. But sometimes we're in bed at 7 and we go to sleep at 7:30. So we have this like 30-minute, it has to be within an hour.
It is still more than
So like sometimes our last nap will kind of like
Yes.
influence that
Yes.
time a little bit.
But their circadian rhythm and also daylight savings really F's you, especially with big kids. Like, the sun is still out. Why am I going to bed?
Just put them in bed obviously without you because you don't go to bed at 7:30.
No, we lay with them until they sleep and then we escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, or you fall asleep with them.
Yeah.
I never fall asleep. I'm not. I have to be really exhausted for that to happen.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So no, you help them fall asleep.
Okay.
I think it's mean to be like, go to your room and figure out how to fall asleep. I can't even do that. I like literally have to make sure like the curtains are perfectly shut so no like strangers can be looking in my windows. I have to make sure the temperature is right. I like make sure the floor doesn't have anything on it in case I'm running because I hear a child fall out of bed. But, you know, there's just things that I have to do to set up. And so if you're just like, hey, go in there and lay down. You're like, what?
Yeah. Okay, and then I think you answered this with someone else talking about just like the length of time total that they're sleeping. But sometimes she'll like nap 25 minutes on the dot. It's like not 26, it's 25 minutes, and it's still while asleep. But then like this morning, which she woke up a bit earlier today, she slept for like an hour and a half. So it's just like, it's just gonna be
she got through the transition to the next sleep cycle.
Okay, so just
And she's gonna, now that she's 8 months, she's going to get there more.
okay.
But just then also she will nap less.
Yeah, it's right now it's about 3 naps.
Yeah.
Like one mid-morning, like 11, another around, like it's like literally every
Between
3
10 and
hours.
12 months, you're gonna lose one of those puppies.
Okay,
And
because it's right around 2.5, 3 hours.
And it's a nasty transition
Okay.
because truly they're just miserable. And I will tell you, going from down to 1 nap, it usually becomes 1 fat daddy nap where you get so much accomplished. But then when you are deciding at 3 or 4 that you are leaving your toddler's nap,
Heartbreaking.
I would say that's harder than the 4-month sleep regression, the 8-month sleep change, like all of it is harder.
They're just awake all the time.
And you have the 5 to 7 windows hard.
The 5 is awful.
Okay.
Like you're like Play-Doh, painting, like call me, go be in the bath for 2 hours, I don't care. Like
A lot of grace.
it's a lot. I mean, you have to, like I'll text him, he'll be like, how's tonight going? And I'll be like, Karen's on the chopping block, like I can't stand her. Or I'll be like, it's okay, you can finish some stuff up at work. But by Wednesday, I'm not okay. Monday night, pretty solid. Tuesday, they sleep at grandma's. Wednesday, it starts to get snarky. Friday, God bless their souls.
She might take that.
Yeah, and then he has them for the weekend, fresh again on Monday. He really does most of our bedtime, and that's also been very healthy. So he can take them, they know that they do bedtime with daddy, and then I just get a minute after being with them all day that I'm just like, I'll do those dishes, I'll tidy up this thing, or I'll just sit on my phone and not be needed by anyone or touched. It's so nice.
Waking up in the morning, is that kind of like bedtime where it should kind of be lazy? Oh, she slept in today and I just,
No, we never wake up a baby.
Okay, cool. Because she having me in her crib and I was like,
You know, take that, girl.
Okay.
Take that to the banking cash.
cool. Because like, am I messing up my whole day?
No, your naps will be different.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just kind of shift
But
things.
they're gonna sleep more as they're cognitively leveling up. They're gonna sleep more because they've been crawling and like all that stuff. So like, or they had a snotty nose or they had a tooth coming in. So if they're gonna sleep more, it's never a bad thing. Until you're getting to that like, I'm trying to drop a nap, like zone, then you're gonna be like, I am not letting you sleep 4 hours, Chica.
Yeah, you'll break
Like,
up at 45.
yeah, and that's kind of when you have to be cognizant of what time, but then I'll tell you, when you have 3 kids, you have no idea when anyone fell asleep, you have no idea when anyone ate or how much they ate, because you're just taking care of a circus. So, first time kid, you like have a schedule, you count poops, you count feeds, you count everything. Third kid, you're like, here's chicken nuggets, and you throw them on the floor, and you're like, whoever gets the most will be the least hungry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get to this point where you're just like,
I also think if you're noticing that though, like she's sleeping more, then I would try to make it a less demanding day of her. Like, do less. Like, choose not to go to Target or choose not to go to the park and just stay in the house and make it a chill day because she probably needs more support.
just but also like you're just like, you know how you wake up and you're like, I just don't want to do anything. They have those days. They also wake up and they're in a badass mood. They're like,
Or maybe more skin to skin, more breastfeeding, just like trying to give them more support wherever you see fit. Because it's for them to rest.
I invited a friend who has a 6-week-old, so she's like, I can't make it out of the house tomorrow, I'm sorry, but I was like, anything you want me to ask for you? I think you covered most of the questions that she sent, but one, she said, when's a good age to start implementing day and night schedules? But I've always gone on like wake windows more than like time.
there is no schedule until after 8 months.
Okay, you just bring the baby's cute.
You can have, she has a beautiful rhythm right now, and rhythm is such a better word than schedule. It's about to be dumped out and stomped on.
But then a new rhythm.
But have a unicorn, my love. But I'm just trying to really lower your expectations so your heart isn't crushed.
I will tell you, around 4 months, we didn't have any like massive, crazy, heart-wrenching things. I don't want to get your hopes up either, so I'd rather let them first probably
It's like hers is like a month and a half-ish.
I think we're like 7 weeks apart or something like that.
So it's like 1 step ahead. So
Yeah, you're watching.
what is going on. I'll find out.
And you both have girls though?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's really helpful.
And we have another friend do like any
When she drops her estrogen, you're gonna know puppies are between 2 and 3, and they start to get like, you're like, when did you become a hack? What is happening? Like, oh, she's got her estrogen. And you're like, get ready for the next 2 months, Chica. You're like, I had such a sweet girl, and what happened? I'd be like, she got her hormones. Or they're like, well, my boy was so sweet. Now he's wrestling everything. Like, just got testosterone. Big drop. Huge package of love. Thank you. Do you have anything? Questions?
Like, yeah.
No, I feel like I've learned so much just even to like apply to cats.
Yeah.
This is a feral animal. So I saw the rainbow the other day. She's like, Mom, Mom. I was like, I'm here. I am feeling.
But he wants your eyes. Yeah.
And the bows. She's got a lot of bright colors going on today. Sometimes you do soft pink and say, ooh, hot pink. It's fun because I'm always like, I got some shine, so I'll just do these. I'm like, I'll just wear all black. She gives me all her hot pink.
Got it.
Yeah, Vincent slept in my
I'm like, I
spot.
don't have any hot.
You're supposed to be that. Why are you
If you guys had the space, either putting the bed in the room or again just sleeping with him in his own bed. Then it's hard when he wakes up because then he's gonna be terrified. Where is he?
And so she was waking up and like with that it's terrible.
I knocked her. I moved the
And
bracelet.
so I did love and then anytime it was also like his chin is all wet.
Gas for water next. Karen's number one thing is water.
The native Slainte is a really good and they're really good quality. My husband
Where's the ball?
my chiropractor.
I would have to water bottle.
He hasn't taken it off for 6 months, so I can't. But I
Just
did
have that.
she goes to sleep. When you walk into native
I would guess that he needs more fat at dinner. So like I would literally like put chunks of butter on his food.
Bring it.
It's one of those like.
Evelyn. Yeah, and him.
Yeah, he probably needs more
Yeah,
fat.
so I can remember. Yeah, I was trying to make an association. Like, okay, Katie, I know that.
Soon. You're gonna be real tired. But we just slept Vincent, me, Karen, Daddy. That was how we did.
How did you sleep with multiple kids?
That's what we did. It was Vincent, me,
Staggered.
Karen. Well, and I had to have a big conversation. I was like, I can't face you. You can sleep next to mommy, but you're gonna have my back. I can't face you. And so he would fall asleep and I would be nursing Karen on this side and he would be on my back and he would be petting me and touching me and then he would fall asleep. And then at night when I had to like switch, I would like pick her up and like roll over and make space. But then after she ate on that side, I would always roll her back here. So I got a lot of left-sided, because I sleep on the right side of the bed, I got a lot of left shoulder issues in that season of my life because I was always on the left side and I like to switch. But we had a gate here so that he wouldn't roll off. And we had a king size bed. That's when we upgraded to a king size bed. When we had the second, we were like, this is, I don't know. His mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, his mother did it with 3 boys and a very large husband in a queen size bed. I was like, I don't know where you put people. That doesn't even make any sense. But so that's how we slept. Now we're very co-sleeping. Like we are all about it. We are probably to the point where people are like you don't want to do it too long. Like we don't believe in any independent bedtime until 4. It's just how we have like raised our kids and love them.
And like I'll put her in like her snuggle me and I'll sleep facing her. But Cash moves around so much. Has to be on top of you. And I'm like, you're gonna.
So the other thing that I feel like I know now that I wish I had known then was I would have just put a twin size mattress next to our king size bed. And I would put his car sheets on it. And it would be Cash's part of the big family bed. And I know that he loves it. I see that cute little boy. And I would just car it out.
Yeah.
But it's at the exact same height as your bed.
Okay.
And so 2 Nuggets does that very well. 2 Nuggets with our bed frame literally puts a twin size mattress almost exactly even with ours. And so for a season, when we first had Nora, Vincent slept on a twin size bed next to her. And we were like, you can be with us, but you're here.
Right.
And so you can't leave the red sheet.
Sure.
Mommy's right next to you, and I would be right next to him. So he can still touch me, and I'm like, you can touch me, because he really wants to touch your face. Like, that's his thing. It's been
No,
since
I
he
don't
was a
want
baby.
to. I just want to be near you.
Yeah. But he would be like, Mama, can I touch your face? And so I'd be like, you can touch my face as you're falling asleep, but then it's over. And Karen was a nipple girl, and I never let her touch my nipples, but she was like, fine, whatever, you need to go to sleep. And so there was a time when she was 2, she's like, I need daddy's nipples. Literally, she was like, I can't sleep, and she would just like calm him and go to bed. So you do what you do, you don't think you're gonna do, and then you're like, whatever it is to get a shut eye. But when we put that extra space, it gave him the space. He doesn't move though, he's a coffin sleeper. Him and I, we're here. We're in this position. We wake up generally in this position. Like, yeah, not Daddy and Karen. Daddy and Karen are like WWE. And so I would give him his space and like go out. I'm talking right now anyway. And that might be a good solution for you guys for this season. And just being like, I love you and I want you in here, and this is your special area, and you're still next to Mom. You gotta stay in the room.
I do love having him sleep.
Yeah. We're all about the family bed.
He is my baby, and I'm just like, how do I do with you?
As hard that first love, I'm telling you, it's hard. It's very hard. I think, like, we have one other bedroom in our house. We have a very small house, and all of the kids are gonna sleep in that room. He's like, whenever I get my own room, I'm like, when you buy your own house, like, I don't know when you think you're getting your own room, bro. You gotta be with your sisters till you're 18. Yeah.
Everybody to have their own
Yeah. So it's not gonna happen. Yes, it's your sleeping room. Go in your sleeping room. Out here you can play. If you want alone time, I will make sure you can go in my room and I'll keep your sisters out. Like, we'll have that in the future, but we know that we're all gonna sleep together.
with our schedule and our lives.
We'll talk about it.
No!
That's what my mom said. She's like, we'll look at it. Like,
Yeah.
I have to know.
Well, Vincent would like to change his name to Edmund,
No!
right?
Could you?
He's like, you always tell people everything. I was like, we can do it. Let's talk about it when you're 10. He's like, okay. Not no, ladies. It's just, we'll talk about it when you're 10.
Could you please stop telling people things I don't like?
This has been very